My name is Sarah Robertson, and I am the Director of Parks and Recreation. Here are the highlights of some of the things that we've been working on in the month of September. We are still accepting bids for the 1996 Chevrolet Silverado truck. It's in need of a power steering pump, and the rear main seal on the motor does leak. Bids will be accepted up until October 6th. The parks crew will be working on re-landscaping Christmas Tree Point this month. A Christmas tree sculpture made by Sean Olson and donated by Chris and Bruce Steinhagen will be installed, as well as a new sign and benches. We are working with the Friends of Crescent Beach and Chris Steinhagen on putting up an informational sign near the WPA staircase at the south end of the beach, explaining the significance and the history of the stairs. We'd like to thank the Friends group as well as Mrs. Steinhagen for their help and their interest in the project. We will be re-roofing the shed at the Evergreen Cemetery this fall. And just a reminder, the youth club is open for youth in 4th through 12th grade on Friday and Saturday nights. It will be closed for home varsity football games this month on October 8th and 15th. We will be looking for cemetery maintenance workers for this next summer. If you are interested, please contact me at the youth club. We are still accepting donations to install a shaded picnic area in front of the youth club. If you are interested in helping with this project, please call the Parks and Rec department. Our next meeting will take place on October 18th at 6:00 p.m. at the Algoma Youth Club.
Hi, I'm Jean Marsh, Administrator at Algoma Medical Center, and this is the report for the meeting of the Board of Directors for Algoma Long-Term Care. During our most recent meeting, we discussed our nursing staffing. We are currently facing some challenges where we are losing nurses to the hospitals and the clinics for higher rates of pay, and the preference for them to work Monday through Friday hours instead of any weekend staffing. Our Director of Nurses has moved on to a clinic, and so in the interim we have Jeanette Stangland working as our Interim Director of Nurses. We are advertising for that position, as well as for more nurses, RNs, LPNs, and CNAs for our staff. In addition, our dietary is in need of some additional staffing there. We finished our Wisconsin Division of Health state survey and had just some citations for in areas of dealing with resident care planning, use of a wander guard, and training of our staff both on resident abuse and how to report it, as well as just the overall general orientation program for our staff. So we're working on improving those programs right now. Followed up by a federal survey, a visit from CMS worker from Illinois, Chicago, Illinois, who came in to verify some of the surveyor's findings. And she did cite the facility for 2 deficiencies in infection control, which we are also working on correcting. As far as new business goes, we feel an emphasis right now on the need for training and monitoring for infection control in the facility due to that citation. And so we are bringing back our one of our former director of nurses to provide infection prevention skills with us. So there are a number of areas right now that are facing strong emphasis in the nursing home environment there due to the overuse of antibiotics in the elderly. There is a resurgence of a bacteria or a virus called Candida auris. And so I presented information to our board, and they have given the go-ahead for us to purchase ultraviolet C lamps that we would wheel into resident rooms to use them to sanitize surfaces and kill all of the germs in that area. And we would have a plan of going into each resident's room on a weekly basis and doing this type of sanitation. So that will be one of the aspects that we're going to be rolling out. In addition, our facility has already taken a number of measures because of COVID-19, and all rooms have HEPA filtered air purifiers in every single room, all of the common areas. Our staff go through some pretty intensive training on COVID-19. The regulations are changing, I can say definitely on a weekly basis, which requires us to do so much education of our staff shift to shift. And so we look at different ways that we can educate our staff in that. In addition, I have provided my resignation, and I will be leaving Algoma Long-Term Care. I've enjoyed my time here at Algoma. I enjoyed the challenge to improve this facility's operations and the financial stability. I'm very pleased that during my tenure here, we were able to have 2 deficiency-free surveys. I think that we improved our financial stability considerably compared to before I started. And to be sure, I did not do this alone. I always had the support and cooperation of a devoted team of department managers and coworkers. But with COVID-19, not only have I experienced the highest level of stress in my working life, but it has also had a huge impact on my physical well-being. The pressure that the federal and state government put on nursing homes for COVID-19 prevention of infection to our residents just cannot be described. Every day, often every hour, we must consider what we are doing, how it will impact residents' safety, and whether it is in compliance with the ever-changing regulations related to COVID-19. These ever-changing regs have burned out people at an unpredictable rate, and you can count me in as one of those people. I work hard, and I do it for less cost than many other administrators. I've reached a point where working 60 to 75 hours per week and having my health deteriorate as I strive to meet all of the challenges of the job has taken a toll. So in the meantime, we are doing a search for an administrator to replace me. I will stay on until we find one is, I guess, the best answer I can give you there. And that concludes the information that was discussed at our board meeting.
Hello, I'm Chief Randy Remicker, the Chief of Police for the City of Algoma, giving you the police report for the month of September. Currently, we are still participating in the state drug take-back program, and we actually had great turnout. So we want to remind everyone, if you have unused or expired prescription pills or medication, we can take those for you and make sure they're properly disposed of with the state. We do remind people we don't take shards or Sharpies or pills. Liquids. If you have pills, bring them down in a clear Ziploc bag. We don't want anybody's personal information, and we'll take those off your hands. The second issue we've been dealing with is speeding complaints on Lake Street in front of the high school. So you will see a lot of traffic enforcement out on those areas during those high times. And we want to remind people in front of the high school on Division Street, it is 15 miles per hour while school's in session when students are present, and it's double fines. Next issue was Coffee with the Chief was this past Friday on September 24th. We heard a lot of feedback about Crescent Beach and actually for code enforcement with a want and more need of more code enforcement. So you'll be seeing some efforts coming down the pipeline with that. With the animal control, we had a busy month this past month. We took in over 10 cats and 2 dogs, and all those animals have been either adopted or passed on to the Door County Humane Society. So once again, I want to remind everybody, if you have a problem with stray cats or dogs, please give us a call. We do have numerous live traps we can use to catch cats, but just a reminder, we do not deal with wildlife such as skunks or any other wild animals. Lastly, code enforcement. To date for this year, we've issued or given out 181 warnings, resulting in 24 citations, and for calls of service for the month of August, we had 162, with a year-to-date total of 1,009. And that concludes my report.
Hello, the Algoma Public Library Board of Trustees met on September 16th. Some in-person program has begun once again at the library. Memory Cafe has resumed and will meet on the second Wednesday of the month at 10 a.m. This program is run by the ADRC. We welcome those experiencing early-stage dementia, mild memory loss, or cognitive impairment, and family and friends of those affected. Adult creative writing workshop began in person again. Braylon will have writing prompts and activities for those looking for inspiration. This program will be held on the second Tuesday of the month at 1 p.m. On October 8th at 1 p.m., Virginia Fell Johnson will be here to discuss her latest book, When the Night Rained Fire. This program will be held here in the council chambers at City Hall. The Inktober Art Contest is back again this year. Registration and submission opens October 4th and runs through October 22nd. Our Maker Wednesday program resumes on October 6th. We'll feature art, tinkering, and STEAM activities. Join us on the first Wednesday of the month at 3 p.m. This program is aimed for patrons 9 and up. October 12th, we have a fall puppet kit for kids. Take one of these kits to make some fun fall-themed puppets, available while supplies last. Our Adult Bookworms Book Club resumed this month. It will be held every third Tuesday of the month at 1 p.m. On October 19th, we will meet to discuss The Guest List by Lucy Foley. October 20th, ever wonder about history of your home? The Algoma Public Library has historical information about residences in the city of Algoma and town of Anape by surname and street name. Come learn about this valuable asset originally compiled by Wes Cox and Harold Nell. October 21st, we will have 2 kits available for pickup. Stop by to pick up a free Science in a Bag kit, courtesy of the Wisconsin Science Festival. Activities are appropriate for ages K through 12 and feature science and research happening in the state of Wisconsin. The second is a What a Scare kit for teens. On October 22nd, we'll be having our pumpkin carving and painting program. This program will be via sign up, and there will be 3 time slots. Call the library for more information. October 26th, we will have a mystery Halloween kit for children and families. And on October 27th, to celebrate Halloween, teens are invited to sign up for our Library After Dark event. Join us at the library at 7:30. Teens can sign up at the library. Now that school has started back up, we have continued much of our outreach. The students from Pathfinders Academy will be coming over every other week to meet with Braylon for some outreach. Diana is currently doing story time for kindergarten classes from the public school and working with other teachers for more opportunities to collaborate. Katie will be offering escape rooms to St. Mary's School in the future as well. We are happy to once again be offering our resources to our local schools. Diana and Braylon have just begun their last course for their library certification. This will run through December. And our next board meeting will be held on October 18th at 4 p.m.
Hello, I'm Matt Murphy with the City of Algoma Public Works Director, and what is going on in September coming into October. September, we're still removing some sidewalk, cleaning up some sidewalk, and a couple of things from the storms yet that have came through town in August. There's some sidewalk that still needs to be removed, and how we're going to manage that. Because of the storms, there will be a significant amount of trees that have been damaged that still need to come down. That will be probably November, December work that we will be doing. We started this week here, this last week of September, cleaning up and starting to break down the marina. October 1st, our city-owned marina closes for the season, and we will start pulling docks, hopefully that first week in October, that we can get those out. The guys are working on leaf vac now. It's that time of the year. Just a reminder to all the residents of the city of Algoma, rake your leaves out to the street. Keep them right along the curb line, but that is the easiest for the city crew to pick up the leaves, to vac them up as we drive by through the city. There's no need to call and let me know that your leaves are out. We start and we run a route through the city of Algoma. We go down every street, we pick up leaves, and then we start the route back over until the majority of the leaves are picked up, or Mother Nature no longer allows us to pick up leaves that it started snowing. So like I said, if you get the leaves out to the street right alongside the curb, get them off the grass just that they're in the curb line, and that it makes it the easiest for us to pick them up. For that, I thank you very much. So it's kind of shifting to fall mode here, and from getting the docks out, the marina wrapped up, into getting leaves cleaned up for the year, and then start, unfortunately, the bad news, harnessing up trucks, getting ready for the winter season. Our next Public Works meeting will be here at City Hall, here at the City of Algoma, October 19th at 8:30 a.m. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Hi, I'm Tom Ackerman, Chief of the Algoma Fire Department and Rescue Squad. The following information was provided during the monthly Protection of Persons and Property Committee meeting on September 27th. Due to fire department staffing problems, during a special meeting of the City Council on Tuesday, September 21st, we made the request to expand the current resident requirement of living within 3 miles of the station now to include the entire town, the entire area that we serve, which includes the city of Algoma, the entire town of Anape, and portions of the township of Pierce and Lincoln. We requested to change also the age requirement from 19 years of age to 18 years of age with the individual holding a high school diploma or a GED. Both requests were unanimously approved by the City Council. Matt Murphy was also approved at that meeting to become a part-time member of the fire department. He will serve the department during his work hours within the city of Algoma. There are other individuals that work within the city that may be recruited to serve in the same part-time capacity. Justin Massey, Michael Gores, Bryce Durst, and Clayton Perrell have completed the state-funded entry-level driver-operator class, which was held in Kewanee. Annual pump testing has been completed, and all 3 units passed the pump tests. Algoma Rescue responded to 35 calls in September. That puts them at 327 calls year to date. The 604 Replacement Committee will be analyzing the specs from the 3 bids received to see if they meet the department specifications that they put forward. Those who meet the specifications will have their financial bids opened at a later date. Modifications were made to the rescue fee schedule and submitted for council approval at the October meeting. EMS Director Kelly Koss and I met with City Administrator and Treasurer to discuss the 2022 budget. A few adjustments were made, and that completes this report of the Algoma Fire Department and Rescue Squad. Thank you.
I'm Jared Hines, City Administrator, and I will be going over the reports for the Finance and Personnel Committee. The Finance and Personnel Committee met on Tuesday, September 21st at 4:30 p.m. here in the council chambers. After the meeting was called to order, there was public comment from Butch Sherman, who resides at 613 2nd Street. He got up and spoke about the rezoning application and process that the Plan Commission has been going through and will be going to the City Council on October 4th. He expressed his concerns with the proposed rezone for the property at 202 Clark Street. Following that, there was no old business. Under new business, we talked about our snow removal storage site, our dumping site. Currently, we dump our snow removed from the streets at Olson Park. However, we have some grant opportunities that we can pursue if we were to relocate that. And so we're looking at relocating it to some property out in the industrial park that the city owns, off on the west side of Sunset. And so in order to pursue these grants, to move forward with this, we would pursue these grants. It would provide a number of benefits. One, environmental runoff would be less impactful, because now the snow would be filtered through the wetlands in the area before getting to the Yanape River. It'd be an operational benefit, as it'd be less impactful to our residents, less noise, less activity near a residential area. And ultimately, after some discussion, it was approved to keep looking at moving to this site so that we can pursue these grants to help defray a lot of those, if not all of those costs. There was a brief discussion on a resolution to recapture our unused levy limit. We have about $11,000 available to increase our levy limit, and so that will be going forward. That went forward at a later time to the council for approval. There was a very brief discussion on amending our citizen participation plan. This is just a plan with our CDBG project going on, and that was simply updating an address for the Department of Administration. We had an out-of-date address on there, so that was updated. There was a discussion on the scope of engagement with Huntington Securities, Inc., who acts as our financial advisor for when we issue debt. We're going to be issuing debt next year, and so these services are to continue working with our current advisor and our financial advisor in that respect. That motion, that was recommended for approval, will be going before the City Council. Then we got into a little bit longer discussion on the contracts for the redevelopment area number 2. This is the CDBG project that's ongoing. There were 2 different topics for discussion. First was contract for engineering services. That was ultimately recommended for approval by the committee to go with Robert E. Lee. They were the only engineering firm that provided proposal to our request for proposals, and we found the review team for the redevelopment authority found that they were a responsible bidder and their prices were reasonable, and so we recommended approval. That was also subsequently recommended for approval to the council. And there was a very brief discussion on the appraiser services for the project. However, we only received one response to that, and because we will be using some of the grant monies for that, there's an additional step we needed to take, or will be taking, are taking, to meet the procurement standards set by the state for that, because we only did receive one response. So essentially we had to extend the deadline by a week and post it to the website. If we don't get any more responses, that's fine, but we nonetheless need to do that to satisfy the state's requirements. There was a brief presentation discussion from the clerk regarding the redistricting, which happens every 10 years with the census. The county basically redraws the county ward boundaries, and that affects our aldermanic districts. And the clerk more or less let the council know that there would be more information forthcoming, but we had to wait until after the public hearing at the county, which was actually happening contemporaneously with this meeting here. So more or less more information forthcoming, and that will be again discussed at the council meeting on October 4th. I provided a presentation on the 2022 health insurance renewal proposals that we had for our annual health insurance benefit for employees. After some pretty serious consideration, I was recommending to the Finance and Personnel Committee renewal of our health insurance plan as it is. The city's portion, with no changes to the plan design, the city's portion for 2022 will actually be decreasing, so that'll be a little bit of a savings to the city. So that was ultimately approved, recommended for approval by the committee. There was a discussion on resolution to amend the bylaws for our fire department, basically expanding pretty significantly our zones that we allow for residency for our volunteer firefighters. So that basically would incorporate all the townships that we serve. And then also lowering the age requirement from 19 to 18. And that was recommended for approval. There's also a brief discussion recommending the appointment of Matthew Murphy to join the fire department. Matt is our public works director, but thought that he would be a good fit for the fire department given his qualifications there, and he would only be responding basically while here in the city on the job. That was ultimately recommended for approval given his qualifications. And then finally, I provided an update on our public safety building, gave an updated price estimate from Bayland Buildings, who is our project manager, and was more or less looking for the blessing of the committee and the council to keep moving forward on this project to go to referendum if they saw that was appropriate. Our estimate came in much lower than we were initially expecting, which was good news, and as such the expected impact to the tax levy would be significantly less. So we're going to be moving forward with that project to get that on the April 2022 referendum. Went into closed session, and ultimately no action was taken as a result of the closed session. And the next meeting of the Finance and Personnel Committee is Tuesday, October 19th at 4:30 p.m. The Common Council held a special meeting on Tuesday, September 21st, immediately following the Finance and Personnel Committee. Just a couple of housekeeping matters on the agenda. First was approving the resolution amending the bylaws for the fire department, expanding the residency range for the volunteers, as well as lowering the age requirement from 19 to 18. That was approved. The appointment of Matt Murphy to the fire department was also approved. The contract for engineering services for redevelopment area number 2, the CDBG project, that was approved to grant that to Robert E. Lee. And the resolution amending our citizen participation plan to update the address of the Department of Administration was approved. The next regular meeting of the City Council is Monday, October 4th at 6 p.m. The Community Development Committee met on Monday, September 20th at 6 p.m. here in the council chambers. There was no public comment during that meeting. Went over the financial report and discussed under old business. We talked about a relocation economic development packet and the work that the committee is continuing on that. They have set a self-imposed deadline of November 15th to have a working draft done by then for review. There was continued discussion on the committee role in city aesthetics, meaning what should be the role of the Community Development Committee with respect to community development issues with potentially blighted or unsightly properties, and what the role would be of that committee, and what that role was like previously with the community improvement of Algoma. So there was also a member from that group present and talked a little bit about the history there. And so that discussion is ongoing. We were also talking about any grant opportunities that we might be able to utilize as the city, or I should say perhaps more accurately, that we could provide to property owners in the community to help aesthetics. So for example, could we provide our own form of a forgivable loan or some sort of grant project or something along those lines for businesses or residents or property owners to utilize for like facade improvements and things of that nature to help the aesthetics of the city. And so that discussion is ongoing. And then there was also a discussion which I will be following up with at the October community development meeting, the next meeting, regarding the housing and urban development guidelines that are in place for residential property owners who apply for forgivable loans through that program. Through the HUD program. And so I will be going over those guidelines with the committee at the next meeting. And then there was some brief discussion on the Bay Lakes bounce back grants for new businesses. The committee just wanted to emphasize that this is a program available for new businesses. I forgot the exact dollar amount. I want to say it was about $10,000. That'd be available in grant monies to help new businesses kind of get their feet under them in this more challenging economic climate right now. And so they stressed that they really want our new businesses in town to look at that and consider applying for that to help kind of spur their business growth. I provided a very brief report just giving an update on the CDBG project and where that was at and how that's moving forward and on schedule. And then the next meeting date will be Monday, October 18th at 6 p.m. here at City Hall.